Hi there, welcome to the archives. I've been trying to remember how to say this name, Hecate. Today we're on the last one. We made it. The Greeks will say she's not least. I was talking to somebody a while ago. I told somebody about this book, and they were saying that Hecate is one of their favorite goddesses. So, last but not least, what else do they say? They save the best for last, some people. So it's up to you how you interpret it, or some people say last is like last, you know? Regardless, this is the 50th goddess that I've done. She's not the last one in the book, but she's the last one in the series that I'm covering. So this is Hecate, depending on who and where you are. So I think Hecate is the Shakespeare. That's what the internet said when I went to go see how to pronounce it, because I actually didn't even know how to pronounce it. I'm not familiar with Hecate. So this is a good introduction for me, although this introduction doesn't actually say much about her because she's very mysterious. So that's the first thing it says. The first sentence of her thing says, not much is known about the mysterious Greek goddess Hecate. She's the ancient Greek goddess of protection and the spirit world, which this is the last one. After I do this video, I'm going to do one more video on the goddess series to go through all 50. I'll just name all 50 and from front to back, just so we can do like a summary and a reminder. So that'll be the video after this one. And as I'm thinking about how to do that video, because Hecate is the queen of witchcraft, and it says it in here. Hecate is still popular among modern day pagans or Wiccans, and she's honored as a goddess of witchcraft. Like, Hecate is the girl of witchcraft, among the white girls especially. And so what I'm thinking about today is, like, how come white women don't get more accusations of witchcraft? And how come white women aren't demonized the same way as black women for a lot of these things? Because the Nigerians will get heat, the Ghanaians, the West Africans, the Congolese, we hear Congo coming up, the Togolese, Benin, Haiti, where else? Jamaica, Barbados, like, right? No, the South in America, the South. I often see when Christianity is going against witchcraft, it's usually black people or Buddhists. Definitely also the Muslims as well too, but I'm not talking about, Muslims are not pagans, right? When they go for pagans, it's usually black people. How come white people are not, or white women, let's talk about those who practice this, because there are white men who also practice this, right? But how come white people are not seen, or even Asians? Because we've gone to China here, we've gone to Japan. Where else have we gone? Hawaii, which now is part of America, but Hawaii is its own island. Where else? Mongolia, we've gone. Burma. How come we don't see Asians as demonic, satanic, witchcraft in the same way as we see black people? I'm just going to leave that comment there. I know why. I have my reasons why, right? My sociological, anthropological, social science answer to why. Racism, anti-black racism is on the secrets, anti-black racism. But just consider that as we wrap up, thinking about all the 50 goddesses we've learned about from all over the world. And yet, when we see an attack on witchcraft, it's usually juju is the name. Obia is the name, right? We don't go after the Greeks. We don't go after the Italians. We don't go after the Nordics. We don't go after Norway, people from Norwegians, right? We don't go after Finnish. Who else was in here? The Swedes. You're not going to Europe. We don't do that to European people. And yet, their ancestors were pagans. Before Christianity, their people were doing very similar to the Native Americans and the Africans and the Asians, and all across the world we look very similar. There needs to be added nuance to that, right? Because as a white person from Norway or Finland indigenous? Well, I don't know. If they're Sami people are indigenous people, but are Sami people white? There's a whole politics around it. About that, and I'm really thinking about that as I wrap this up and really do Hecate's story. And I do know a number of white women who really, really do go to her as a goddess. And nobody sees them as doing dark magic, casting spells. Nobody talks about white women doing spells to keep their men. No one talks about white women doing juju to cast a spell on somebody they don't like. Like, we see white women as very, like, outside of that. Very, like, we don't do, right? But, like, it happens. Not to demonize them doing it, right? Because demonizing all of it is bad, is wrong. But I'm just really thinking about why, as I wrap up this series, we don't, and not to say I want us to demonize white women. There is a petty part of me that does, I'll be completely honest, and I do think that's necessary for us to get to where the Hopi people envisioned us, a tribe, the rainbow tribe, right? It might sound like there needs to be a level of white people understanding what it's like to be demonized by the whole world in the same way that they have demonized the whole world, if that makes sense. I don't think we can actually get to equality or equity without white people understanding what it is like to be so oppressed in a particular way that speaks to them and their lineage. Does that make sense? Because there's always will come a lack of empathy. You can never really put yourself in somebody else's shoes because you don't understand that location, right? It's similar to matriarchy and patriarchy conversation. I think in order for us to truly go back and get to egalitarianism of equality, we need to pass through matriarchy again. Because men need to understand and be comfortable with what it's like to see women lead, right? In order for them to even see them as equals. So you have to be comfortable with a woman, yes, having some power over you, leading you, in order for you to see and experience her as equal. I don't know if that makes sense, or even if that's the right way or the simple way, but I do think that sometimes, what's the Jamaican saying? Jamaicans just celebrated their independence. It's something I grew up with because what I heard. The English translation. Basically, the English translation, I'm not going to do the patois translation because I don't want people to be like, oh, no, she thinks she's patois and cultural appropriation, or she thinks she's Jamaican. But the gist of it is, those who can't hear must feel. You can't hear, must swear. That's what we say in tree. You don't learn. Your ears are tough. They're hard of hearing. That is a lot of people. That's patriarchy. Patriarchy was swear ding. White supremacy was swear ding. You're not hearing. So in order to learn the lesson, you must feel. You will feel. Which is why I love studying emotions. Because that's where you gotta go. People gotta feel the consequences. You have to feel the inequality. You have to feel the oppression. In order to understand it, oh, this needs to change. Because otherwise you're not gonna want to change it. Because you don't feel the impacts of it. And I want more white people to be afraid of their witches. The same way they're afraid of the black girls who practice this. I just, because they're practicing this in open sight. And again, I'm not hating on that. Good for you. You know the right way, right? And I want more white people to dig back into this, and not just white people, but all over the globe, right? This is how we rise up in a particular way that pushes up against what it is that we have been living in that's no longer working, right? The old ways that need to be left behind. Let me actually get into Hecate's story, okay? So I'm going to end this here. Maybe I'll post this before I do her. I'll do her, and then I'll do one more last video on 50 goddesses just to summarize and see if we remember even who the goddesses are. Right, because we've been all over the globe with this book. I really want to get this. I'm going to buy this for myself. There's some books I'm trying to collect, If I had children, I would read this to my children. I would use this as an intro guide to teach them about the different religions of the world, the different world religions, the different goddesses of the world, and to let them know that Christianity is not the only way. Yes, we are Christian, right? If I had children, mommy's a Christian. This is what I grew up with. This is Catholicism. And also, there were ways before Christianity came along. People practiced religion and spirituality before Catholicism, including Africans, and here's what they were doing. And this is why the world said it was bad, and this is why we no longer do it. Those are the kinds of conversations I would have with my own children if I had children. Not some theoretical thing. These are conversations, if you know me, that I do have with people, right? I'm always the one trying to push back in my family, and they don't like it because they do see it as witchcraft. Why are you teaching these kids witchcraft? Again, do white people have that in their families as well? Maybe they do. Maybe there are white people who they try to teach their kids this, and they're so deep into Christianity or Catholicism or whatever that they also call each other witches. Do white people call each other witches? I don't know. I'm not in those worlds really, especially not anymore, right? So I have no clue. But I'm just really thinking about race and religion and how who does what, the politics, as I'm also reading The Conjuring of America, how conjure women, hoodoo, voodoo practitioners, those who practice Santeria, Candomblé, all of these different types of religion, they have a hard time. They have a really, really hard time. I've had a really, really, really hard time. You face a lot of backlash. There are costs to even dabbling into this. You will lose friends, you will lose family, you will lose community for daring to peep into the past of who your people were, right? Is that something that's similar among white people? Is what I want to know. Do you feel the same cost? I think I do have a couple people on my ask in the future about that, actually, to see, right? Are your children pushed out of community for you teaching them these things? What have your children lost? What have you lost for trying to hold on to these old ways? So I'm going to end this here, and I'll be back to actually get into the last and final goddess of the series, okay? So until next time.